Halfway through 2010, and the biggest stories of the year are BP's oil disaster, Governor Charlie Crist's independence, and former GOP Chair Jim Greer's shame. All of that on Power Play today with our guests, Steve Bosquet of the St. Petersburg Times and Josh Haffenbrack of the South Florida Sun-Sentinel. And we'll go first to the BP oil disaster. We've never seen anything like this. It's unrelenting.
No, it's going to be with us for a long, long time, Ron. The latest we've seen now is Governor Charlie Crist wants $50 million more from BP for more TV ads. They're ramping up with a legal defense team because you know that the litigation is about to start here.
Well, since Florida relies on sales tax revenues for most of its budget, a big, big depression in sales tax with the fall off in tourism that's assured this summer. What are lawmakers going to do?
Well, BP's saying they're going to pay claims, and Bill McCollum's trying to start to gather some documentation to try to remit those things to BP and get those paid. It remains to be seen whether, as these bills pile up, if BP continues to pay them or if it ends up in court.
Have you guys ever seen a crisis of this magnitude where there seems to still be a perception that no one has a handle on it, federal, state, or local?
No, nothing in our lifetime, really. Absolutely not.
So if you're advising the governor or the president or U.S. senators or local leaders, what are they not doing that they should be doing?
The response, especially at the federal level, just doesn't seem very well coordinated. It seems disjointed. People were sort of resigned this week and sort of not impressed with the fact that Vice President Joe Biden finally came to the Florida Panhandle.
To the honor.
Exactly, big time, yeah.
Well, what about in this strangest political year of our lifetimes, even without the BP oil crisis, Charlie Crist's gambit to run as an independent? Right now, he looks like a brilliant political strategist.
He's looking pretty good. He was a dead duck in the Republican primary. There was absolutely no way he was going to beat Marco Rubio. He switched to independent. He's getting, in all the polls, he's getting huge chunks of Democrats. He's holding the center. It remains to be seen if he'll be able to maintain 40-45% of Democrats and win this thing. But right now, it's looking like a masterstroke.
And kneeling down, on oil-soaked beaches and saying this is terrible, and being governor plays pretty well, actually.
Well, the guy's always been a master with the tube, and he still is. And this is as catastrophic as this is just an ongoing television saga, this story, unfortunately. But and that's sort of Charlie Crist's strong suit. And there isn't much he can do except put the foot on the neck of BP for more money and act as sort of a comforter in chief and act as though he's concerned and compassionate for what people are going through.
And Marco Rubio has nothing to equal that bully pulpit that a governor has.
That's right, and especially you could see a special session on a constitutional ban on oil drilling, on other matters, and the governor would be in the spotlight with that as well.
Quickly, the phenomenon we're seeing in this 2010 election year of multimillionaires we've never heard of before who are buying not only name recognition but possibly nominations and jobs for governor and U.S. Senate.
And it's working. The public is not in the mood for veteran politicians, for veteran public servants, and these guys are coming in just at the right time with $20 million of their own money.
There's that, Josh, but also these guys would not be making the splash they're making if the people they're running against were stronger.
Well, is there going to be a flashpoint where even a Republican legislature says, this is wrong, we need to put some controls on spending, even by candidates in their own campaigns?
No, I don't think so.
Really?
First of all, I think the Republicans in the legislature are of the opinion that, you have a constitutional right to spend your own money. They've always taken that position. Scott and Jeff Green are one-off type characters. I mean, we've had people try to underwrite their own races before, but nobody's gotten as far as these guys have gotten.
All right, and the Jim Greer scandal, as the former GOP chairman, we hear tapes now being revealed. What kind of fallout will this election year have from that scandal?
I'm not entirely convinced that there's going to be a lot of repercussions of the ballot box. The one candidate who certainly have to look out for is AG Bill McCollum. You could certainly see him getting hit over the head by his self-funded opponent Rick Scott.
But he called for an investigation.
He did, but he certainly was a top Republican figure at the time this went down. There's some accounts that he was making a lot of these decisions at the time.
Steve?
No, I agree. I think I'm mystified as to why it is that the investigators investigating this whole thing haven't investigated McCollum and Mike Herodopoulos and Dean Cannon. These guys were, as Josh says, these guys were part of the cabal that threw Jim Greer out and tried to clean the party up. But they're key party decision makers.
But the key phrase may be they were involved in helping throw him out.
Right. But they've also been, keep in mind, as soon as Charlie Crist made his move to run for the Senate, The candidate for governor is the titular head of the Republican Party in Florida. That, in this case, was Bill McCullough.
Okay, gentlemen, we're going to go to your respective power plays of the week. Josh.
I'm going to go with Delmar Johnson, the erstwhile executive director of the Republican Party of Florida, who has flipped his way out of a almost certain federal prison sentence by singing to federal prosecutors, and he's heard on a tape telling his former boss Jim Greer that you never have to worry about me while federal prosecutors were listening in.
It's a movie. It really is.
Steve?
Power play of the week for me is the Public Service Commission Nominating Council. I know that's a mouthful, but what they did this week is they tossed out Charlie Crist's two pro-consumer PSC appointees, former Senator Nancy Argenziano and Nathan Scopp, both of whom were bidding for new terms. They won't get reappointed, and I'll make a prediction here, or at least say that there's a good possibility. What does Charlie Crist do? He throws all the names out and asks for more names.
Steve Bosquet, Josh Haffenbrack, thank you very much. The second half of 2010, stay tuned. We'll tell you all about it in upcoming editions of Power Play. Go to the Safety Review for the latest political news.